Hello, everybody. I hope you're having, everybody's having a okay day. I know this time of year can be hard. It's a hard time of year, and it just seems really strange. But it is what it is, and but I thought I would show you something which is a lot of people are doing these, and that's making these cards that you can send away. Mind you, when you make like a homemade card, you don't have to use a sewing machine. You can use anything just to make sure whatever you're putting on the blank card is going to stay there. And you can get these blank cards. They're inexpensive. Um, they're a little more expensive if you order them from like Amazon, but Walmart has them, and you get them in like a pack of. It's where I find them. It's like a double pack, so there's like 24 of them, or 12. There's 24, and you get the cards and the envelopes. Or if you don't have those extra fundings, you can use such things as a cereal box. Makes a great card because it's the same thickness as a card. A little bit thicker, but not a lot. And all you do is cut out the side of the card. Of course, then you might have to make yourself an envelope, but that's okay too. Make yourself an envelope. All you're wanting to do is make sure that whatever card, however, there is a little bit of gap. See how the gap is? There's a little bit of gap, because what that does is when you put stuff on this card, it does make it a little thicker. So you just want your envelope to be, I don't know, that's probably a 1/4 inch. Let me put it in here without ripping it. It's maybe, oh, come on. It's like, see, when you push the card on the side, there's, maybe a 1/4 inch gap in there. And that's what you want, so that the card, goes in there fairly decent. And I will let you know, my table is bending in half. Come on. I will let you know that these cards do weigh more, a little bit more than the average envelope when you send just a normal card that you buy at a store. And I always buy like the forever stamps, and it does take 2 of those forever stamps. So you just might want to be aware that that is the case. But what I'm going to do is show you how I made, and I'll show you a card that I sent to my granddaughter Aria, and it was cute. My daughter sent me a video of her opening the card, and that was exciting for me. That was the cutest thing. And then she read, what was on the inside of the card. That was, for me, pretty amazing. So let me show you how I do my cards. And you don't have to do these this way. You can make them however you want. There's no specific pattern. Oh, well, technically there is patterns to make these cards. I just don't have one. I just use whatever fabric I might come across. I've made scrappy ones. I'm going to show you how I made specific ones with a specific design, but you can also make them like this. And excuse me, I'm in the way of the camera. Sorry about that. Grab these cards. But you can make scrappy ones. See, there's nothing. These are just fabrics sewed together on the card. These are just scraps that I sewed together. And they can look like that. There's nothing wrong with that. These are just, and I have bunches of them. It's based on what you want to do with them. But I'm going to show you how I made one for um, made the 2 cards I sent off. But you start with whatever you're using. And like I said, this one's 5x7. You don't need to make them that small, but you can make them larger. But this happens to be a 5x7 and it's blank. You just need to be a little bit aware how you want the card to open. It doesn't have to open side to side. That's nothing saying. You can do them so where they open this way, so that the card stands like this. Well, let me see, it'll stand like this. You can put your design so it's, so it's this way if you want. It doesn't have to be a standard card where you open it to the side. You can open it like this. That design, that typical thing of, oh, this is how the card opens. It isn't necessary. Usually I do, because you have more room to put your design so it can go up. But I'm going to do mine so it goes up this way, and I'll show you why. But this is what I do. The first thing I do is I choose the background of it so that you can cover up this. And the reason I do that is because if you choose what you want on the card, then sometimes it's a lot more difficult to choose your background, because you want this white stuff covered up. And this next part, it's not a have to. I like it putting something in there because I like the card kind of puffy. And so what I do is just, this is fleece. I prefer fleece. It's what I use for batting. It's what I use for everything. And it doesn't matter. Yeah, this one's cute because it's got little things I could cut out. I get this fleece. It's actually a throw blanket, but I can usually get it at Walmart. It's a regular little fleece blanket. You could use it as a blanket if you wanted. It's fairly large, but they usually have them on sale for between $2 to $4 for one, as opposed to using batting, which is very expensive. And I'll put it to you this way. These are big enough by itself without adding to it. If you use this fleece blanket as the batting on a queen size bed, as a queen size quilt, it fits perfect. It's that big. They're fairly large. So, but this is what I do. I do this. Let me move this stuff here out of the way. Because I'm going to cut a piece here. I don't want to lose my card on the floor. That's a pain. Okay. I just got all this stuff out so I didn't have to go hunting it down. But it's just choose your fabric. I like this one. I have a green one to match it, but I didn't think that the green really went with this, and you'll see why in a second. It's an identical green. This is the ones I got when I remember in a previous video I said I had all this yardage of Christmas type fabric and couldn't remember what I did it for, and now I remembered. I'm going to cut these at the same exact time. Well, maybe not. Well, yes, I can. And it doesn't have to be exact, but you want, the card is 5x7. So what I generally do, because you got to remember, if you're going to quilt on this, it's going to shrink. It's going to create shrinkage. If you're not going to quilt on it, then don't worry about it. But I usually try to make it a little bit bigger. So my card is, and then like this, you just need to decide, like this is a striped Christmas type fabric. I want it to go up and down. And it really doesn't matter, but it's just in my vision, I want it to go this way. So I'll be cutting 5.5 this way and 7.5 this way. Okay, just get my ruler. Okay, kind of get it straightened out, kind of, sort of. And again, this is one of those things that doesn't have to be perfect. It really don't. That's why you cut a little bit of extra so you don't have to worry about it. Okay, and you're here and here. And I just use my get over there. I don't want to lose him. I keep losing that ruler on the floor because I'm putting it there. What is under you? Okay. And again, like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't want it. 16. Get over there. No, I don't cut it all the way up because it's not necessary. There's my 5, and I hope I didn't mess up the other side. Oh, crash. Perfect. See how you see it's off. It's perfect. And I just usually take the card like this. Actually, I could do it this way. Oh, get back in the hole. Get back in that can. Okay. Like I said, I usually cut it bigger, then I don't have to worry about it. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. This is one case it doesn't have to be perfect. Because you're going to correct. Looks like I need to change my... Come on. I know you're there. There you go. Let's put you over here. Okay. And again, you just need to decide how you want, whether you want your picture to go up and down or this way. But again, this one, I'm going to go up and down. Your fleece is here, okay? This fleece will stick to fabric. It will stick there. And you could iron it if you want to. Cards I prefer, sometimes I iron them, sometimes I don't. And what you're wanting to do, your piece that you cut out, you're just wanting to make sure that your card is going to be inside of it, to where when you turn your card over, you're not going to see any of the white spot on the card. You won't see any of it, and that's the way you want it. But remember, the reason I cut it bigger is because if you quilt on this, when you quilt on something, it does make it smaller. That's why when you you're making a, let's say your block is 5 inches, and that's what it says it's supposed to finish at. Well, when you quilt on that block no longer is 5 inches when it's finished. It's smaller. So when I want a finished 5-inch block, what I do is make it so it's maybe 5 1/4, and then after I quilt it, then I will measure the 5 inches. Or you can also, if you have several blocks that you put together, if they're under 5 inches or over 5 inches, you just make sure all your blocks are that same, whether that's 4 1/2, 5, whatever. So it doesn't matter on the measurements as long as every block is identical. And if the block is off just a little bit, like if you had, let's use this. Let me get me my other little piece of fleece here. Come on. See, as I showed you, it sticks to the fabric. Let me cut this piece off here. This little piece here. Let me show you. Like if you had, where'd it go? Hold on. That was funny. When I picked it up there, it went over there. It stuck to the other one. Jeez. Okay, so, sorry about that. So, let's pretend these two were basically the same. Okay, so you have one here. Let me show you. See, if these were two blocks you were sewing together, see you got this little tiny bit that's like not exact. Okay, that's easy to correct. All you have to do is, you got one side that's this way, just make sure, instead of trying to cut that little bit off, just kind of push it up there and sew it across. You don't have to be exact. I know a lot of us, including me, sometimes I forget that sewing or making projects is not an exact science. It's going to be exact if you're making a tire for somebody and putting it on a vehicle. Then it better be pretty exact. But this is a case of our ideas being put on paper. And the other concept of, and I'm going to iron this because that wrinkle is bothering me. Sorry. That wrinkle is bothering me. I can see it. It's flipping it up so I can see it. Not so much that I can see it here, but when I look at the video, look at the camera, because it's on a big, huge monitor, I could see it flipping up. So here, if I just look at it straight, it looks like it's fine. But when I look up here, I could see it. And that is how, because I am blind. So that might make a little more sense. I'm not completely black blind, but I am blind. That's why sometimes I don't, when I go onto the lives, I don't type a lot, because I have a little mic button that I can push in the chat, and it types for me across the screen. But unfortunately, sometimes it has a misconcept and it will start typing everything that it hears. So to do it, I have to turn the my speakers off so it doesn't type it, and then it's yeah. So it's great for what it does, but sometimes it's not great. So, but I can see it, so I'm gonna iron this really quick. Thank goodness my iron don't take very long to heat up. I like my iron. Yeah, I changed it so that my ironing was right here, so I didn't have to get up and walk so far. And now I don't have to. Little things here. Get off of there. My roller thing's over there. Okay, now it's flat. So from here, and I'm going to put this one at exactly 5 by 7. Yeah, because I'm not going to quilt it on here, so I'm putting this at exactly 5 by 7. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to go 7. Okay. There you. You and you go over here. I don't want to end up cutting you. 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Okay. We'll look over there. Yep, he's straight. Now it's wet. Sometimes it's hard to understand, well, how can you be blind and still do that? That's how I can be blind and still do that, because I'm using my screen, my computer monitor, to see what I'm doing. So again, like I said, I'm not black blind, but it's close. It's real close. Oops. And I used the ledge of the ruler to tell me where I'm at. Sorry about that. I tried to pause the button before oh, my ruler came off. Come here, get over there. Oh, I hate when that happens. Let me look over there. Yeah, I use the ruler as a guide for my roller cutter, whatever they're called, rotary cutter. And then I can't cut from that other direction. A lot of people can. I can't cut from both sides. And let's make this 5 inches. Close enough. And even if it does show the white, it's not going to hurt anything. It just, on the white on the card, it won't hurt anything. It's not like it's... Okay, so make sure that side's straight. And what I'm doing is, I'm going just a little bit beyond the 5 inch, like this 11, I think that says 11. Yeah, 11 on here is where I'm starting, but I just bring it a little bit to the side where the 10 is. And the same here. Like this is the side that's 7 inches, which would be the 18 over here. I'm just cutting it a little beyond the 18 inch. So it is a little bit bigger. Okay. So this is our bases, our backing and the background fabric. See, it makes it puffy. And, well, that's the card. That's the envelope. Let me put the card open. There you go. And you're just gonna turn it upside down. You just have to remember. I mean, you can have it so it opens backwards, but... oh. You're just gonna set it on there like this. And it ends up, that's your background. And as long as you have your basic background here, you're good to go. From this point, what I do is I don't attach this to the card yet, because I want to do whatever I'm going to do on here. I don't attach it to the card, but I know that this is the size I need, so I can create my designs. Now, what I said is, I sent my youngest granddaughter a card, and this is explaining how the cards were done with the little pieces cut out. And I know, yeah, you're going, you can't see, how can you cut them out? Well, here's the scissors I use. These are actually what they sell as for specific cutting out rag quilts. They are extremely sharp. That's, I mean, they are very, very sharp. It's for cutting edges off rag quilts. I like these for doing what is called fussy cutting. Now, let's put this over here. Put it on my sewing machine. These are the fabrics, again, that I got. Let me put these guys over here. That I got all that fabric that I didn't know why I got it. Now, let's first choose this one here, okay? This is, I thought this word looked cool. So what I did was, I don't want to destroy the whole thing. I just, as you can see, I was cutting on it because I was making stuff. So I just took a small piece of it, and I wanted that word joy out of there. I'm going to use my bigger scissors. And I don't want to cut into the other pieces on there because they're cool. So let's just cut out this word joy. Okay? This is the only piece on here that I'm going to take. So. Oops. Just take those. Even though there's some cool ones. There's like a Christmas tree, the house, these little flags. And I showed you in a previous video this material. But this is what I'm taking. Now from here, you could trim this up a little bit if you wanted. Because our card sits like this. See? And you could set it. And it would look fine if you didn't want to finish cutting it out. You know, when I sent my cards, I cut each individual letter. And it isn't really that hard. You could cut each individual letter. And I'll show you. You just kind of cut around there. Like I said, I'm looking up at my computer screen as I'm cutting, because it's letting me see that I'm not cutting. And so it's not, you know, it's a little, like I said, it's not, you don't have to be exact, because that's not what we're after. We're after a creation of something. And let's cut these little guys. Okay, so we're just gonna, I'm gonna pause the video real quick, because that, you know, watching me just cut out these letters has got to be boring, so hold on. Okay, now we got our little letters cut out. I'm gonna put these over here. Those hurt when they fall, if they fall on the floor. There's a little letters. Let's see, you can see them better on the black. I wonder. One second, I'm gonna get something really quick. I want to see something. I wonder what that. Yeah, see, this is not a pre-done video where I thought, well, I'm gonna do exactly. No, this is a on-the-spot creation video, so to speak. I'm gonna move my letters onto here because I want to see something. And see, here's the green. But I wanted to see if I made, whoops, come on. Let's move this guy over here so I can open this fabric. I want to see what those letters look like against. Oh, yes. Check that out. Oh, yes. Okay. So, you know what? I think we're going to switch to the green. I actually like that. It sticks out. Oh, yes. I like the green. Oh, let's do the green. I really didn't think it would look good, and I had tested it, but I actually like the green. Oh my goodness. Oh yes, let's cut out a green. Let's cut out a green. I'm just going to use this as a template, and I'm just going to kind of fussy cut around there. Cut it a little bigger because I know it's not exact, but check it out. I like the green, or it might just be me. I like the green though. Green is one of my ultimate favorite colors. Okay, let's check out this green. I'm gonna put that over here. That way. Let's iron this green a little bit so it's flat. quick iron. Now, where's my card? The card itself. And let's put our somewhere. Where'd he go? There he is. Here's our piece of fleece. You could actually use the back too. Well, let's put our piece of fleece on here. Just pull him up a little bit. And I'll show you what the switch did. I guess I should have tested. No, I like the green. I like the green. It looks, oh wow. And I'll show you what I mean here in a second. Let me cut this really quick. I don't want to. And as many of you, if you didn't realize, those watching, I don't edit my videos. It is what it is. Mistakes, not mistakes, good things, bad things, whatever. I think it just makes it more real. To see, sometimes to see videos where everything goes off without a hitch, it's like, you edited the video. It just makes it more real when you do it without editing, and that's the videos I love seeing, that everybody does those mishaps and whatnot. It does happen. That's a fact. It is what it, nothing ever goes like it's supposed to. Well, sometimes it does, but it's rare, and that's why I don't want to edit the videos, take out. Oh, look at the green. Let me show you. It's the green is quite stunning. See, it's quite stunning. It is quite stunning. So when we add the green, check this out, and then you add these letters. Add these letters to that green. And when I put letters and stuff, when I do this, I put letters on. It is rare that you'll find me putting the letters straight across. I like at an angle, not quite to the end, because if you can, but what it does is it puts it into the thing where you sew these together to the card. So I kind of keep it away, and look how cool that looks against that green. That looks really cool. So, okay, our card's here. This is our piece. Not worry about the cardstock that you're using. I'm going to close that. Okay. Now, we're looking at, let's go to the snowman. Now, when I did my granddaughter's, hers had snowmen on them. And Aria, this is how I cut the little snowmen on your card. And I thought I decided, let's see, let me find the side that I cut. I don't really want to cut into the middle of the thing. Move you over. And because I have a design in mind, and there he is, right there. This little guy with both his hands in the air. This one he's got both his hands, and so I'm going to use these big scissors to go up. No, I don't want that snowflake. I'm just going to kind of cut him out of here, and then I'll fussy cut him. But this is how I don't know if this is called fussy cutting. I don't know. It's what I call fussy cutting. Because you're kind of being fussy. Let's put, yeah, that's the only thing I wanted off that one. Now let's get this a little flat thing. And if you get like little strings hanging off, leave them there. You can cut them off. I don't recommend pulling them, cut them off, or leave them, because what happens when you pull it, it leaves those little fray things. And I'm sure everybody knows what I'm talking about, I hope. Like, this one don't have any. Oh, yes, it does. like, see, here's a string. If you pull that string, well, no, it wasn't attached. I don't have any that I can fray. You could create one. Oh, there's one. See, if you pull this, what it does, it starts fraying, and then you might have a problem. So just try not to pull those when you're doing something like this. Try not to pull the strings. Leave them. Yeah, I know they might bug, but when you leave things like this little string, it creates more of a, I don't know, I really can't express. It creates, like this Y example, there's a string right in the middle of that Y. I'm not going to cut that off. When I sew that down on the machine, I will actually sew around each one of these a design. And usually what I do, instead of going each individual letter, I might go a little closer to the edge, but not exact, so it looks like it creates the illusion that you ripped something and versus cutting it. So let's cut this little snowman out. See, I'm cutting the snowman. And yes, I'm going to make sure his arms are in there. I'm not going to cut his arms off. I cut to that point. He's got little green arms, which is really weird. This one's got green arms. Yeah, I just realized that. He's got green arms. Aha! Okay, there's you. And he's got little green. And I am not going to try to cut through each one of those individual fingers. Well, no. That's beyond me. And if you have this kind of fabric, you know, you can cut between each one of those little fingers. I'm just not going to. That's going a little too far. And it will look fine. It won't be, you know, won't be massively noticeable. Okay. Get this a little closer to my TV screen, or my monitor there, so I can see what I'm doing. And again, you don't have to use fabric. You can use paper of any kind. If you go down the into any, well, I use Walmart as a reference because that's where I know, but any store, a physical brick and mortar store that sells stationery, or other stores that sell any type of scrapbooking, they sell books of paper, and it's for scrapbooking. They come in real thick books, and you can find some, and it's like big, huge. The largest ones I have, the largest scrapbooking pages I have are 12 by 16, and they're big, but they come in a book looking thing. And no, the pages are not the same. Every page is different, has a different design on it. I got drawers at this dresser, this big dresser, the flat one, not the tall one, but the one that sits, it is full of scrapbooking stuff. Stickers, puffy stickers, all kinds of stuff in there. And tons and tons and tons of scrapbooking books to where I can pull the pages out. I got everything from sports to cartoon characters to, yeah, because there was a time I was really doing a lot of scrapbooking. I made albums. Albums such as, like, I would be asked to do someone's family history, and so I'd make them a scrapbook album of their, you know, and you put your the family tree on a page, and things like that. It just makes it, when someone asks you that, and it just makes it interesting when they get it back to see their family tree all in one book. And the books that I used are, those books are, they're not a regular size album like an 8.5. They're larger. They're quite large. Not really super large. But each one of them has a page, and you put, it's a plastic. It's a little thicker than a plastic. It's about the thickness of a report cover, but it's a pocket, and you just slide the stuff inside that pocket. But this is pretty much, you know, you're doing the same thing. You're scrapbooking using paper, and I just never thought about doing one using cloth, or fabric. Never thought about it doing a family book using fabric. Never thought about that till just now. I'm cutting out his scarf right now. Cutting around his little scarf. You can see his little leg right there. Or leg. Oh my gosh. Sorry. His little arm. I got leg on the brain. Snowmen don't. Well, I guess I could. You know, I always think about it. Why doesn't a snowman ever have legs? If you think about it, they don't have legs. Why can't they have legs? You can make them have little feet. Why not? Think about it. You ever seen a snowman with feet? Hey, we could invent snowman feet. Now there's a new one. Think about it. Why don't snowmen have feet? Even Frosty the Snowman, he doesn't have feet. Why? What is the reasoning? Why can't they have feet? You know, they could do like a couple of snowman snowballs and put them as his feet. Why not? Why can't they have feet? No reason. They could have feet. Okay. There's our little snowman. See, there's his arms, this arm, and this arm. Okay? All right, let's put you back over here. And these little scrap things, I don't throw those away. When I'm doing stuff like this, I don't throw those away. Because see, like this one, it has a cool looking star on it. I don't throw these little scrap things away. Now, I don't keep them forever, but I don't throw them away. Because guess what? Even a tiny, tiny piece, you could glue, it just creates a decoration. So, the reason, okay, now, he's going to go up here, okay? And I'll show you, that was on Aria's card. On my daughter's card, I cut a truck. And I'll show you. And let's pull this truck out of here. This one here. I'm just going to cut the truck. I keep looking up there at the screen to make sure I'm actually cutting what I'm supposed to without cutting the truck in half. All right. Yeah, I put the truck on my daughter's, Misty's, her card had a truck. So there's our truck. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to cut this truck out. Okay, and you'll understand, if you haven't guessed it, what we're going to do is this little snowman is going to sit, and I don't think I'm wrong, and he will. I'm going to set him. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he won't. I'm going to set him. We have to turn our truck correctly. And your legs. Now, this is what he looks like with the background is green, and this is why I said I wasn't real happy. Now I'll show you what it looks like if we use the red checkered, and let me move these little scraps over here. Now if we was to use the red, you'll see what the red does. Let's get these straight. You could come up just a little bit. Yeah, he's gonna have to go over, but that's okay. I'll move him over. Okay. We got O. There's the Y. And there's the J. See, when we use, and I'm gonna cut this truck completely out, but there's the difference. And I like how the red, it just looks so much different if we use this red as opposed to the green, which is really strange because it shouldn't, but it does. And that's the reason I used the red versus the green. But I just wanted to show you the difference. So let's put these guys here. And I'll pause the video and then I'll cut this truck out. Okay, we got our little truck cut out. Whoa! Come back here, truck. Boy, he's trying to take off. See, we got our little truck. Isn't that truck cute? Little truck. It's okay. Now what we're going to do, we're going to set that truck on this piece of fabric. And I want the truck as close to the side as possible, even if the front of the truck gets caught in when and I'm losing these little pieces. Even if the truck gets, when I quilt the side, even if that's okay. It's not going to hurt anything. Okay, because what I'm after is setting this snowman. So, because I want the snowman on the truck to where it looks like it's sitting on that truck. But I don't want him, and let's fix this. Let's move our truck a little bit over so that I can, and pull my truck up. We can move the snowman just a little bit over because I want it looking like that snowman is sitting on that truck. All right. That's what we got. Isn't that cute? I don't like that joy though. Let's turn him. Let's turn it a little bit so it's here. Let me move the snowman over a little bit more so it sits on that truck. Okay. Get these letters in here. Come on, get on there where you're supposed to be. Stick there. I'm going to slide this card underneath it so I can pick it up easier. And then I can pick it up. And that's what it looks like. Okay, that's what the little card looks like this. And from this point, you have various options. You can use, these are just glue sticks. These are just, you can find these glue sticks at the dollar store. They come in a package. I get mine at Walmart. Of course, we don't have, I think there might be a dollar store here. I don't know. I don't go. But you can get these in a package, and I think there's 5 or 10 to a package. I don't know. It's on. I keep it hung on my wall, and I see the package, but it's like a big fuzz thing over there. That's just so I know that it's there. But you get these. It's just Elmer School Glue. I prefer the purple. This one's purple. It does not dry purple. It's that way until it dries, but it is purple. You have an option. You can use this to stick this to the paper, and it will stick as long as, and what you do is you put an iron to it so it gets hot, melts, and then it will stick to there. I find that when I do that, it doesn't seem to be secure, as in, it will secure it, but over time it starts releasing, and so the card eventually falls apart. If you use fabric, that is only if you use fabric. If you use paper to do the same thing, this glue stick works just fine. The paper won't come off. It will actually rip if you let it dry. Like I said, if you're going to iron on paper, put something over the paper, like a piece of, you can put any type of cloth. You can even use a paper towel, just so that you're not, I wouldn't recommend using a paper towel, but you can, as long as you don't burn the paper towel. But use, like, you can use another piece of fabric. You can use wax paper, or most people have a wash rag. Wash rags work really great if you're putting, if you're making these type of things, whether any type of paper, and you need to iron the paper. A wash rag really works great, because usually wash rags are made out of terry cloth, and it works great. Or a hand towel works great. Anything so that you're keeping your iron or whatever you're using for that heat, so that it doesn't directly impact the paper. It could burn the paper. It really could. That's from experience on that one. To where I won't do it again. And from here, what I do is I know what my design looks like. So what I do, I take this very carefully, and the piece that I know could fall off, like, I'm going to take it to the sewing machine, and I'm going to just put a little design, just a quilted design with the different settings I have on my normal sewing machine, and I will come right back and show you. Okay, everybody, this is what it looks like. And I did change it a little bit, as you can see. I decided that I wanted to go ahead and, when I fussy cut that, I left the little, I don't know, Christmassy decoration on top of the truck. And I decided that it looks a little better this way. And I wanted his arm to be looking like he's holding it in his hand, which is what it exactly looks like. And then his little other arms over here. And it's kind of like, it's not really planned, but it is. And that's what it looks like. Now I'm going to attach it to the physical card in pretty much the same fashion, and I'm going to sew it. So we're going to put this on here, and this is where I said the gluing part, because I don't want the white part of the card to show. So I do use, and I will show you what happens if you cut it. Oh, it may not happen. Yes, it did. Now, this is the reason I said, or I mentioned, you don't, and I'll manipulate it so it don't, but you don't want, until after it's quilted, you don't want to cut the 5x7. Because if you do, you run a risk of the white showing on the card. And I don't like that white showing. But do a little manipulation so it won't. This is where this glue comes into handy. And I'll show you. It will basically keep this on here until it's all quilted. And I just put, and you can see, this is the reason I like the purple, because it shows. And then when it dries clear. Just need to be aware that needles and this glue don't like each other. So, but when you're doing this and sewing through paper, you don't want one of your good needles in there anyway, because the paper does bad things. But I can manipulate this and move it around. And because you're using the glue, that stick glue, it will make this kind of stick up. So, I'm going to like that. And see, it makes it kind of stick up. And get over there. I don't want any of the white showing. And if the white shows, it's not a big deal. It's not. I just prefer none of the white to show. But this is for demonstration purposes so that you can see why it's not a good idea to cut it exactly 5 by 7. So I'm going to put this on the iron. I'm going to heat that glue back up. And no, I don't use, when I'm doing these fussy cut pieces, I don't use heat and bond on them. I want them, you can, and then just iron them on, and then it's not necessary to the sewing. I just like the effects that the sewing makes. But just note, when you iron this, it's gonna, your card's gonna go up in the air like this. So what you do is, you set it and hold it down. It's hot, my card's hot. You hold it down until it cools off. Just don't burn yourself. Yeah, fabric gets a little warm. Or you can set, you can set something heavy on it so it does, when it gets cold, it goes flat. I just put my fingers on it in this case. And it goes flat. And that's what it looks like. And from this point, I'll pause the video again. And I don't want that string hanging out. I don't want this hanging out. It's good enough. Okay. But I'm going to quilt the outside of this, and then it permanently attaches to the card. Okay, now this is what we have. And this is what I said. If you cut the cards, if you cut this background exactly at 5 by 7, you end up with part of the white of the card showing. And that was the reason I did it the way I did it, so you can see it's not a lot of shrinkage that occurs when you quilt something, but it is enough to make this impact. And so that's why I always make the background of whatever I'm putting on there, I usually go like a 1/2 inch bigger, like 5.5 by 7.5. Then I know I've got that 1/2 inch, and that is more than enough. And then when you're done doing this, I just kind of mark it where the 5 by 7 is, and now you can understand. There, Aria, that is how I did it, and it looks like, because of how I did the quilting in white, it looks like the truck is driving on snow. But Aria, that is how I made that card of yours. Of course, hers has got just these little snowmen. But you can do those out of paper. Anybody can do this same thing, but just use paper. You don't have to use fabric. I just like the mushy of the fabric. It just feels cool. And then again, after you do that, you 99% of the time you might have I just run my finger here to make sure there's no, it's not going to hurt anything. I just want to make sure there's no, because it can't pull any further than what the stitches are going to. But I can see in the video, it shows there's, where is he? Oh, he's over here. Yeah, video looking at the camera, I can see it, so I just give it a little haircut. I just do this, make sure there's no loose fabrics, and then I look up at the screen. But this is what it looks like. You know, it doesn't have to be anything perfect. And then you open the card, and you have the option, because there's another one. Let me cut these strings off. You have the option, you could actually quilt on the card itself, like stick everything to it and attach it. But what then happens is the card, all this is in here is quilted on the card. And I just never cared for it. Right now with just the edges quilted, you can't tell there's thread in there. It just looks, because the design I used, it just looks like kind of lace decoration on there. And you can cover this up if you want to, and here's where you would write. Usually what I do is I make a poem, and I've written poems for many years, and so I just make a poem real quick, and put it on here. You can print it on paper, you can write it, and then here you can use the glue, the glue to keep it down to the paper. And again, they have a tendency to not be flat. That's just what it is. But because of the thickness on it, and this is also based on if you keep adding more layers to it, like, I could add stuff in here, and but it will take at least 2 forever stamps on there. And when you put it in the envelope, just remember whatever side you want them to see. I actually, and remember before we had a little bit, maybe a 1/4 inch gap when I put it in the envelope. There is no gap now. It takes up that gap, and it makes it tight in there. But what I do, because it is thicker, and because of what this is, you don't want, if you're sending it through the mail, if you're hand delivering it, it's no big deal. But if you're sending it in through the mail, I would recommend, you have your address here, whoever the recipient is here. Here, on this corner, right, do not bend. And you're going to do the same thing to the back. Do not bend. What that tells the post office, supposed to tell the post office, don't run it through those machines. Because it is made out of fabric for the most part, anything thick like this, those machines, they run it through, it could destroy the card, because it runs it through and it's not flat, so it'll catch on those feeders that feeds the mail and the sorters, and it could cut this in half. And I don't think anybody wants to do that. But that's how I make these little quilted cards. Like I said, you don't have to use fabric. You can use material, and you don't even have to have ones that have, like, I fussy cut the little things, so makes him look like he's holding up the joy sign, because I think it's cute. It looks cute. It's just whatever you feel like doing, and there's various channels that do out there. Trying to think of the ones off the top of my head. Joe at Vintage Style by Joe, she does a lot of this kind of stuff. And if you've never seen her videos, go check them out. They're pretty amazing. She's got quite a talent. She does a lot of this type of stuff. And she actually just made a quilt. And I was watching her video. I was like, she did it. However, it's got the same concepts of this that she put into the quilt. meaning fussy cutting and sewing and embroidering. And you could actually, you know, if you don't have a sewing machine, you can do this by hand. There's nothing saying that you can't do it with a piece of floss or regular thread. There's nothing saying you can't do it that way. Or again, using glue, the school glue. Yeah, I try to stop talking with my hands, and it just don't always work that way. I give it trying. But I just wanted to show everybody that this is, you know, a fairly easy way. I don't know about easy. It's a way to make a card. Use your imagination. And like I said, when I first started, I was just going to put the snowman on top. But I thought it looked better, and it made it look, doing it this way, made it actually look more like he was, well, kind of sitting in the back end of that little truck. Kind of, sort of. And, you know, I could have moved the word joy up a little bit, but I was after something more specific, and that is making it look like it's actually, because of the white, making it look and have the appearance that he's driving down the road on top of snow, which is kind of what it looks like. So if I'd have put it further up, he wouldn't have been on the bottom of the card. So that's the reason I did that way. But it's kind of unique. It's, you know, it's not perfect, and I had no intentions of making it perfect. But I thought I would show you that, and I hope everybody find something to make the holidays, or me, I just want them to go away. I'm not a holiday. I don't. It's hard this time of year for me. So I hope everybody enjoys their day, and I will see everybody in the chats out there. Thank you again, everybody. Bye bye.